Hello, welcome to very warm welcome to DotnetCore Zero to Hero series, and this is day 6, and we have only one more day left. That is day 4, day 7. We covered day 1 and day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. In the day 5, we mainly covered design patterns and solid principles, and after that, if any application, if you are starting with basics or any basics with advanced features, after that we need to follow some rules that we discuss as a last session in day 5, like solid principles and design patterns and event driven architectural overview, and event sourcing and message broker we discussed in the last session. And in this session we will discuss, like, even after the, if you are following that particular certain architectural patterns and design patterns and architectural best architectural and these all things, if you are building a large scale application, that is a no matter. If you are a one person to implementing the one large scale application, that is not a uh, important thing. We need to manage that application, like, as a performance wise, like in end of the day, any like any client or any such a application, they need to focus only on performance tuning and unit performance only. If performance is good, definitely the users will automatically increment. That's the reason behind the Netflix and um, Amazon, Amazon and Netflix and Hotstar, Geo Hotstar. These applications are running. Uh, that is that topic we will discuss in this session, like as a performance. Like, this session is completely performance and unit test, performance testing and deployment. This is a complete session of performance and discuss. First, overview of robotic and scalability. Robotics means, like, how the humans, robots are working in the real time. Like, if you are searching anything in chat gpt, it automatically get the response, like it is working as a, like, robotic application. Robotic exactly meaning, like, in robotic you'll see in once drudatvam. It means, like, flexible, the flexible.
Robustness.
Robustness is just flexible. Like, if you are creating an application, it should be a robust application. Like, it's never and ever. If you are creating an application, never and ever we need to touch that application. That is the power of while application, large scale application building. Scalability, and if you are using a less number of user at the time, only small amount of data will consume. If you are using more, lot of user at the time, automatically servers will be called as a scalability. And next we will discuss profiling and benchmarking tools. Benchmarking and benchmark .NET and .NET Trace. This will discuss in profiling and benchmarking. Profiling and benchmarking are the essential optimizing application performance in the .NET. They essentially optimizing the performance in .NET. This help to identify bottlenecks and ensure efficiency uses. Benchmarking with benchmarking .NET. First, we need to install this. It is comparing the performance application. We need to install this application. I installed this application. in my .NET application. After that basic example, we'll create one class. This is the steps to install. Like here I implemented a mass operation. In this mass operation I given as a sum of 0, and here I implemented as a one for loop, and I incremented as a sum, and I am returning as a sum. Here benchmark int sum enable range 0 to 1000. It means like it will 0 to 1000, up to 1000 it will sum, and it will get the total number of records. That is benchmark. Like uh, enumerable range is like 0 to 1000. This is called as a benchmark. Like here we declared as a benchmark sum of link you and extensible link. Once again I will keep my charger, and we'll discuss another topic, like very very important topic, that is unit testing. Class programmed static class static program wide menu benchmark run maths operation up, output execute time memory uses and efficiency comparison. Output execute time and memory uses efficiency comparison. Support different environments like .NET Core, .NET Framework, and MongoDB, and etc. And next, profiling with .NET .NET Trace is a performing profiling collection of diagnostic tests and application. Installation, we need to install .NET tool, global .NET trace, and after that starting we need to collect process ID, our process ID, PID, we need to replace with our process ID. Profiling and benchmark, and analyzing collected trace, convert format, speed space, trace dot net dot trace compared. Feature, purpose, benchmark measured methods of performance, captures system wide performance. It captures system wide performance. It measures method of performance. Output, execution time, memory uses. Output, CPU, memory and thread activity. Use case, performance comparison of small code segment. Identify bottlenecks in the running application. .NET REST. Next, the very next topic in our thing in dot catching and optimization in memory and Redis. Already we discussed this thing, but again we'll discuss because this is also covers into the performance and catching. Catching is a essentially technique, optimizational performance technique, reducing the database queries and improve the response of the .NET provide. In-memory caching and distributed caching. In-memory caching is useful to storing frequently accessed data within our application in memory only. Installation, we need to install extension that cache in memory. After that we'll register in our application like program.cs. We'll implement one service, data service. In that will get data and set data. Will do this exercise in that separate class. It is fast and efficient, best for small scale, frequently accessed data, not suitable for large scale application. In memory is not suitable for large scale application. Redis distributed caching. Redis is an in-memory data stored that allows to multiple application instance shared cache data. It is Redis is an in-memory data store that allows to multiple application instance shared cache data. Installation step, we need to Microsoft extension that catch stack change, and in that we'll wrote this code like our configuration code replace with our Redis, like where exactly our Redis is running, and use Redis services will implement this all thing, and it support distributed caching, handling large scale and multi-instance application, persist storage, data service abstract requires Redis data setup. It requires Redis data server setup. Features, storage location, application memory, external Redis server, scope, single instance, multiple instance. Expiration policy is there for in memory, but uh, Redis also is their expiration policy. Performance, faster in local, slightly slower. Network overhead. Persistent cache, no persistent cache. Yes. The next topic is unit testing and integration testing in the .NET. Unit testing and integration testing in .NET. Testing of circular batch software development ensure the reliability, maintainability, and .NET support unit testing and integration testing using frameworks like MS Test and XUnit and MQ. Unit testing will software development will reliability and maintainability. .NET support unit testing and integration testing using frameworks like MS Test, XUnit, and MCQ. Unit testing is functionality, individual components or method class isolation. Frameworks, built in a .NET framework. MS Test is built in .NET framework. XUnit, popular open source alternative with advanced accessor. MQ library isolated with MVQ or knocking library. Using external XUnit for unit testing will first we need to install this SDK dot test dot accessor. Hmm. తిన్నారా మధ్యాహ్నం మధ్యాహ్నం అన్నం తినలేదు ఒక బిస్కెట్ ప్యాకెట్ కొనుక్కొని తిన్నా మరి ఏం లేదుగా మరి మధ్యాహ్నం వచ్చి తిని yeah. Using XUnit for unit testing. First, we'll discuss unit testing with the using of MS Test. MS Test is a built-in test framework in .NET. So that's the reason we'll discuss XUnit. XUnit for unit testing. It is the most open source and popular alternate advanced as a abstraction. First we'll install this package XUnit package, and after that we'll install SDK Microsoft .NET Test SDK. Write a simple test case XUnit, calculate text, act, arrange the calculator array, act asset equal 5 result, like results calculator public int add text to be. It's simple and fast. Focus on only one method. Focus on one method. Does not test interaction between multiple components. This is a one disadvantage. Does not interaction between multiple components. Mocking dependency with MCQ. Mocking help to isolate class dependencies. We have a few steps like first we will install .NET add package mock, and we'll implement sample save order save order service fact, avoid real database API calls, test logs without external UP. Integration testing is a testing ensure multiple components work together as expected. We'll implement we'll install integration testing. .NET. These are the few steps, and here a testing endpoint API endpoint slower than HTTP test due calls. Ensure advantage of test API integration. Ensure different components work together. Comparison of unit testing and testing. Future unit testing and integration testing. Scope of unit testing is single method or single class. Integration testing is multiple components. Speed. It is a fast, slower integration because multiple components is interacted with, right? Dependencies. Marked dependencies is real dependencies in integration. Purpose. Checks logic and validation interaction. The very next topic is and next CI/CD pipelines, Azure GitHub actions and Docker actions. We'll go CI/CD. CI/CD continuous integration and continuous deployment help to automate build, test, and deployment process to ensure faster and more reliable software release in .NET. Popular CI/CD tools are Azure DevOps, GitHub Actions, and Docker. These are the uh, CI/CD tools. Mainly, we will use as a Docker and Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps is a enterprise grade CI/CD deep Azure integration. GitHub Action, flexible and cloud-based CI/CD directly GitHub, CI/CD, Azure DevOps. Azure CI/CD develop is a powerful tool application setup. We'll create a Azure DevOps project. After that, we'll write an Azure YAML file like trigger branches include main pool, VM manager or VM image steps task dot use .NET thread to task package SDK version or .NET version will execute script .NET build configuration release display name build project script configuration result run result task publish build artifact inputs path to publish artifact drop automate build and test integrate with Azure App Service and Kubernetes. We can integrate with Azure Apps and Kubernetes. These are the steps. First, we need to create Azure DevOps project. After that, we'll write a YAML file like based on the main branch and virtual uh, image name and steps like .NET version and script to build a configuration, run test and these things. I automated the build and test integrate with Azure App Service and Kubernetes. Next, CI/CD with GitHubs. GitHub's action workflow automate with your GitHub repository. Steps to create GitHub and CI/CD workflow. Create a GitHub workflow .NET YAML file name .NET CI/CD on push branch main jobs builder runs. First, we'll create a GitHub workflow YAML file. Next, we'll check out and check this and version and these all things. It runs with CI/CD directly from GitHub. Support Docker, AWS, and Azure development. The next and very last using Docker CI/CD. Docker helps to package application into containers in consistent deployment. Steps to containerization Docker file from MCR Microsoft .NET MyApp build and run coordinate. These are steps build and container. After that, integrate Docker into GitHub Actions. It work across the environment, ideal environment. Choosing the right CI/CD features, easy setup, Azure's DevOps medium, GitHub easy, Docker medium. Best for Azure Cloud, best for GitHub repos, best for Docker containers. It support .NET. .NET will support GitHub or DevOps Docker. Integrate with Kubernetes. Multiple. These three are support with integrate with Azure Kubernetes and this is the CI/CD tools. And we covered profiling and benchmarking, we covered catching, and we covered unit testing and integration testing. We covered CI/CD pipelines. Next, practice, implement, and this exercise session will covered in our next topic. Uh, the day 6 has completed to this part, and day 7 has only pending. We'll discuss day 7 on tomorrow class, and if you have any doubt day 1 to day 5, please feel to reach me. And if you have like a subscription user, please attend this Saturday, that to 23 3 2025 one-to-one mock interviews. Please mail to me, like if you are anyone has interested to interview session questions. That's